It's a way of the Mr. Quickie, oh yeah. Like me, many atheists are not compelled to believe in a god or gods because the world we see all around us, the world we live in, and of which we have vast experience by the time we're adults and thinking about these things, that world simply doesn't line up with the world portrayed in the holy books of the tribal war god of Abraham. Those books portray a God who is incredibly active in our world. They portray a God who is fabulously powerful and who uses that power in our world to the benefit of those underprivileged and the people following his instructions, commandments given by a leader who is in direct communication with the God in question. In conflict with the world we see today, the God of these holy books is clearly a supernatural being, able to speak matter into existence, able to hold the sun in the sky for as long as he likes. A God who uses his supernatural powers to demonstrate his existence, his concern for his creation. Well, some of his creation. And who is not at all shy about doing so. The calculus here is simple. Either A, these supernatural events genuinely took place in history and were accurately recorded. 2, these stories were made up entirely. Or D, events took place in history having some resemblance to what was later recorded, but were embellished over time, taking on legendary, mythic proportions which don't actually reflect the reality at all. Of those 3 options, only one can be embraced by the believer, leaving everyone else to wonder why these supernatural events no longer take place. For the atheist, the answer is simple. They were either made up or embellished far beyond the reality. If a supernatural God and realm were foundational to our world, we would expect to see the supernatural in our world today. Routinely, abolitionist John Brown would have been contacted by God and told to confront President of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, with a simple message, "Let my people go." If Davis refused, God would have smited the South with 7 plagues, crippling the economy, wiping out property, killing the firstborns, etc., until slavery was ended. If the supernatural were foundational to our world and not something made up by people in the past who simply didn't understand how the world worked, we would routinely see God's hand in our world today. Religious leaders would consistently heal the blind, raise the dead, feed hordes of people with just the tiniest bit of food. Miracles would abound. Believers will often accuse atheists like myself of believing that the universe just popped into existence out of nothing, and demand to know why other things don't just continue popping into existence. Horses, chairs, spatulas. Of course, that's not what most atheists believe. But that is what believers in the tribal war god of Abraham believe. They believe there was nothing, absolutely nothing, and then suddenly, magically, there was an entire universe supernaturally created by a god, leaving atheists like myself with the same question. Why don't things continue simply popping into existence at the behest of your god? Dirt men, rib women, animals, trees, golf clubs, and of course spatulas, etc. If our world looked anything like the foundationally supernatural world described in these various holy books, I'd likely be a believer. So would you. But since it doesn't, I think it's far more probable that these stories are made up or simply embellishments. Unless Nietzsche somehow traveled back in time and killed God late in the 1st century. Perhaps early 2nd. But I guess we'll never know. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.